Welcome to our YouTube video on Middle Ages fashion, 500 AD to 1500 AD. Join us as we delve into the fascinating world of clothing, accessories, and armor during this period of history. From intricate dresses and tailored tunics to ornate headwear and battle-ready armor, we'll explore the fashion trends, social customs, and sumptuary laws that shaped the style of the Middle Ages. Let's journey back in time and discover the fashion of knights, nobles, commoners, and more in this captivating era. The fashion during the Middle Ages, which spanned from 500 AD to 1500 AD, was influenced by various factors, including social class, religion, geography, and technological advancements. Clothing during this time was not only a means of protection from the elements but also served as a symbol of status, wealth, and religious beliefs. Let's explore the fashion of the Middle Ages in detail. Early Middle Ages, 500 AD to 1000 AD. During the early Middle Ages, Europe experienced significant social and cultural changes after the fall of the Roman Empire. Clothing during this period was heavily influenced by the Germanic, Celtic, and Viking cultures, as well as the spread of Christianity. Women's fashion. Women typically wore long, loose-fitting dresses made of plain linen or wool, which were often belted at the waist. The dresses had long sleeves and reached down to the ankles. Over the dress, women would wear a pinafore, or a sleeveless overdress, which was often decorated with embroidery or other embellishments. Women also covered their heads with veils or wimples, which were cloth coverings that wrapped around the head and neck. Men's fashion. Men wore tunics, which were long, loose-fitting shirts made of linen or wool. Tunics were typically belted at the waist and reached down to the knees. Men also wore trousers made of wool or leather, which were often held up with a belt. Cloaks were commonly worn as outerwear, and shoes were made of leather and were usually ankle-high. Fabrics and colors. Fabrics used during this time were primarily linen and wool, as these were readily available. Bright colors were rare, and most clothing was made in natural tones such as beige, brown, or gray. Wealthier individuals could afford clothing in more vibrant colors, including red, blue, and green, which were considered luxurious. Accessories. Accessories during the early Middle Ages were simple and practical. Both men and women wore belts made of leather or cloth, which served both functional and decorative purposes. Women often wore brooches to fasten their cloaks, while men used buckles to secure their belts. Jewelry was minimal, and the most common accessories were brooches, rings, and necklaces. High Middle Ages, 1000 AD to 1300 AD. The High Middle Ages saw significant developments in agriculture, trade, and technology, leading to changes in fashion and clothing. During this period, the rise of cities and the growth of the merchant class led to increased demand for luxurious textiles and elaborate clothing. Women's fashion. Women's clothing became more fitted and structured during the High Middle Ages. Dresses were still long, but they began to feature more shaping at the waist and hips, with the use of lacing or buttons for fastening. The neckline of dresses also changed, with the introduction of the bliot, a tight-fitting garment that had a high, rounded neckline. Women also began to wear longer veils, known as barbets, which covered the neck and shoulders. Men's fashion. Men's fashion during this time saw the introduction of the coat, a knee-length tunic with long sleeves, which was worn over the shirt. The coat was often worn with a tight-fitting vest called a doublet or a pourpoint, which provided additional warmth and shape. Men also began to wear stockings made of wool or silk, which were tied to the breeches with laces. Fabrics and colors. The demand for luxury textiles grew during the High Middle Ages, and silk, velvet, and brocade became popular fabrics for the upper classes. Embroidery and decorative trims were commonly used to adorn clothing. Footwear. Footwear during the Middle Ages varied depending on social class and occupation. Commoners often wore simple leather or wooden clogs, while wealthier individuals might wear shoes made of higher quality materials such as leather or velvet. Boots were also popular, especially among knights and soldiers, as they provided more protection and support. Headwear. Headwear was an essential part of Middle Ages fashion. Women often wore veils or wimples, which could be plain or adorned with decorative trims. Headscarves and headdresses, such as the hennin, a tall conical hat, were also worn by women of higher social status. Men typically wore soft caps or hats made of wool or leather, and head coverings were often used to denote social rank or profession. Outerwear. Outerwear during the Middle Ages included cloaks, capes, and mantles, which were worn for warmth and protection from the weather. Cloaks were typically made of wool or linen and fastened with brooches or buckles. Cloaks could also be lined with fur or trimmed with decorative elements for added warmth and style. Armor and military dress. Armor and military dress played a significant role in Middle Ages fashion, particularly among knights and soldiers. Armor was made of metal plates or chainmail and was worn over a padded garment called a gambeson for protection. Knights often wore surcoats, which were sleeveless garments with a coat of arms or other heraldic symbols to identify themselves in battle. Military dress also included specialized garments such as tabards, hauberks, and coifs, which were worn for specific purposes on the battlefield. Sumptuary laws. During the Middle Ages, sumptuary laws were enacted to regulate the types of clothing and accessories that people could wear, based on their social status or wealth. These laws dictated the colors, fabrics, and styles of clothing that were acceptable for different classes of society, and violators could face fines or penalties. Sumptuary laws influenced Middle Ages fashion, as they determined who could wear certain luxurious textiles, elaborate styles, or vibrant colors, and helped to maintain social hierarchies and distinctions. Thank you for joining us in exploring the rich world of Middle Ages fashion. We hope you enjoyed learning about the clothing, accessories, and armor that define this period of history. If you found this video informative and intriguing, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Stay tuned for more fascinating insights into history, fashion, and beyond. Thank you for your support.